How are you? Hope you're well. So, it's not the 7th of October yet, but I'm too excited to wait to do this intro, so I'm doing this now so that once it gets here, I can just jump straight head first into that book. What book? Didn't see the title. Today we are reading, and by today I mean in 5 days, we are reading Checking My Bet, Ali Hazelwood. I've been so excited for this. Like, since reading Love Theoretically, I have been so excited. I've heard so many good things from people who received ARCs, and I want to read it. I want to film my reaction to it, and I want to put this up immediately. I might completely ruin my upload schedule for this book, but I'm just too excited. If you know me, if you've watched my videos, you know I love Ali Hazelwood. Her books make me so happy. This is her first YA, which I'm so excited about, and it's a academic rivals to lovers book about chess players, which I don't know anything about chess, so I am so excited to be reading this and experiencing this, and I can't wait. I've heard people are like crying again. I've seen a couple of reactions from people who read the ARC, and apparently people are like crying. Apparently it's a very good book, so I am just so excited. I really want to try and update as regularly as I can. I'm going to try and document this a lot more thoroughly than I normally do. So instead of like a beginning, middle, and end update, I want to try and do regular updates, maybe every 50-ish pages or so. Might not look my best this video. Sorry about that in advance, but I am so excited. I am constantly checking to see if it shipped, even though I know it's not going to ship until the 6th or the 7th, and I already know it's not even going to get to me early on the 7th. Like, it's gonna get to me that night, because whenever I pre-order books, it never gets to me early. I am lucky if it gets to me by lunch. Usually it comes nearing the end of the day, which sucks, but I am so excited. So I really hope I love this. I really hope it's good. I don't see why I wouldn't. All of her short stories were 3 stars. All of her big books were like 4 to 5. I think. I don't remember what I gave Love on the Brain, but I do think that needs another chance. I think you don't care. Point is, Love on the Brain reread will be happening at some point on this channel. But right now, we are focusing on Check and Mate. And I also will be doing this for her other 2 books that are releasing, Bride, which, oh my god, am I so excited for that one. It's gonna be so stupid. I cannot wait. It's a werewolf vampire Romeo and Juliet telling. Are you kidding me? And then Not in Love, which, oh my goodness, it's gonna be tremendous. I am so excited. But right now, Check and Mate, cannot wait. 5 days and I'm bursting so much. So, but yes, I will be back once I have started it, once I'm getting into it a little bit. I just wanted to do this intro because I am bursting at the seams and I just needed to do something related to this while I sit and wait. So I'm doing the intro, but I will let you know when I've started it. I am screaming, crying, throwing up, punch me in the face. That's me right now, waiting for this book. So I'm gonna go before I ramble on. But yes, so excited. Goodbye. So this got here an hour ago and I picked it up immediately. So far I just got to chapter 4, which is page 36, and not going to lie, it has a little bit of a slow start for me, but I don't think that's this book's fault. I think it's more so just the fact that I don't really feel like reading a contemporary romance right now. So it's a bit of a slow start, but that's okay. I'm just gonna keep reading and hopefully it'll start to get interesting around the 100-page mark. And other than that though, it is pretty good. She just played her first chess game against him. I don't know anything about chess, so those parts didn't mean much to me. I didn't realize that the actual games were going to be described, which isn't bad or good. So yeah, and then one last thing. The back is giving lover, which I am really loving. It is such a pretty back. I really wish the front had the same color scheme as the back. But yeah, we'll see how it goes and I will check in once I'm a bit further along. just got to part 2, which is on page 57, and so far it's essentially been entirely set up, so I am excited to see where this goes. She is joining a fellowship, and I think this is going to be this is where the plot kind of starts. The first 50 pages have all been set up, which is fine. So I'm excited. I want to see more of him, so I'm hoping that comes in soon. And she has a little bit of a mystery, which I'm excited to learn about. So far, so good. Still very much at the beginning. Don't really know how much more I'm going to read today, but I'm impressed so far. So we'll see. So I just got to chapter 10 on page 113, and I have to say, I think this book was miscategorized. I think this might just be a YA fiction with a heavy romance subplot because, again, we are on page 113, and this man has only shown up twice. He is not in this book at all so far. So I am enjoying it. By no means is him not being in the book that much, at least yet, a bad thing. It's just, it doesn't fully feel like a romance, I guess you could say, and that's fine. Just surprising. This is very different from her adult books, in my opinion, which is kind of crazy. So it's a fun experience. She definitely wrote this very differently from any of her other books, so I'm enjoying it so far. But just beware that page 113 and we've only seen him twice. So I'm on page 119 and the love interest, his name is Nolan, just stopped by her house and her mom came out and essentially introduced herself, and the main girl's inner monologue down here says, Nolan smiles at her, looking not at all like the sullen man-child I know him to be. And that's kind of a gripe of mine with Miss Allie Hazelwood. The main characters, they always assume something about them, like they just assume they're these mean, grumpy men who hate them, and that's been something that's happened in legitimately every single book of hers that I've read, and I'm pretty sure I've read every book that she's published. So that's one thing that I just find very irritating. Like, just stop assuming, because you're kind of making an ass out of yourself right now. And it's happening again, and I'm just a little irritated by that, but it's minor. I just thought I'd share my thoughts. We used to have each other's playlist. Hello, so I just reached chapter 24, which is on page 275, and I just had a quick thought / opinion. I can't really go into detail about why I think so, because those are pretty large spoilers, and I don't want to spoil anything for anyone, especially considering how new this book is. So I'm not going to say why I think so, but if you've read it, especially up until again page 275, you'll know what I'm referring to. And quite frankly, I think that Mallory, the main character, is really mean to Nolan, the love interest. So like, there were some things done and said that I do believe she had the right to feel upset and angry about. However, she is just incredibly vindictive and mean to him, and the way she responds to him makes it seem like he's this villainous character doing awful, terrible things to her, trying to get her to fail, when throughout this entire book he genuinely hasn't been anything but kind toward her. Again, he has said and done some things that definitely overstepped boundaries, but he's never done anything cruel, mean, vile, whatever word you want to use. And I'm finding it very hard to like the main girl character right now, because she is just so mean to him, and it's completely undeserving, and it makes me a little angry. So that's how I'm feeling, but yeah. No, used to be each other's best friend. So I finished Check and Mate yesterday, but I wanted to really sit on my review, so I actually didn't decide on a star rating until about an hour ago, and it ended up being 4 stars. So it's a really good rating. I did enjoy it. It was a fun book, and overall a good time, and I would recommend. I personally have always thought that chess is boring. to be perfectly honest. I've never had an interest in it, and it's always just been something that seems really dull and boring to me. So I did have that bias going into the book, and it did make the chess parts a bit boring for me, which isn't the book's fault by any means. It's just my stigma toward it, I guess you could say. So yeah, it did make chess interesting though. Like, definitely, I didn't find them boring. I just didn't find them as interesting as some other people may have, because I did have this whole thing in my head. I still kind of think chess is boring. But yeah, it was interesting though, because I knew chess was a difficult board game, and I knew you had to kind of be smart about it, and definitely it's not a brain off game, it's a brain on game. So I always knew that, but actually learning that each little square has like a letter and a number and so many things, and I didn't even realize it was a professional sport. So it was just very interesting in general. That's one thing I love about Ali Hazelwood just in general. They're all STEM based in some type of way, including chess, because it's a smart person game. So it's topics that I'm pretty unfamiliar with. It's a world that I am completely not surrounded by or in at all. So it's just very interesting to read about and see every single time. Nolan is wonderful, amazing. I love him with all of my heart. He deserves the world, and he did nothing wrong in this book. I will stand by that. He did nothing wrong. I do feel conflicted about Mallory though, because she is likable, definitely, and she's going through a lot. She has a lot of trauma, a lot of emotional baggage that she's dealing with. I can completely empathize with what she's going through. However, I just think she was so needlessly mean and cruel to Nolan specifically that it was really difficult to empathize with her at some points. I'm not going to go into detail because this book is very new and I don't want to spoil it for anyone, but if you've read it, you do know like what I'm talking about. It's about halfway-ish through the book. She gets into an argument with Nolan, and during that argument, she was just so mean. And like I said, what he did wasn't bad. Like, I don't think he did anything wrong, and she was so mean to him, and it was very hard to empathize with her and feel bad for her and be on her side in that part. So that also was disappointing to read about. And I get she's 18, so she's not that mature, but also like she should have groveled to Nolan for what she did. That part I didn't like, to be quite frank, but Nolan's mere presence made up for her cruelty. So yeah. And the one last thing, I didn't mention this previously, this is not a romance book. Nolan doesn't show up until like over 100 pages. Like, he shows up, but his presence is just there. Like, he's not an actual character in the book until probably 120-ish pages. I don't remember exactly what page. 113, that was it. He's not a character, really. He's just a presence. So this is not a romance book. This is a general fiction YA book with a heavy romance subplot. I will stand by that. It's a very, very heavy subplot of romance, definitely. And, you know, if you want a romance, you can definitely pick this up. But that being said, it is very, very, very heavily chess-centric. Like, that's the main theme of this book. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I didn't mind it at all, but it just kind of feels the same with Emily Henry, where it's like, does this count? Does it? So I don't know. That's my opinion though. Overall, did like it, and it was fun. I'm happy that I read it as soon as it came out. I don't think I've ever really been this on time. So that was fun. No, Love on the Brain I read like a day or two after it came out. So there is that. But anyway, let me know if you have read this book, if you agree with me that Mallory was just needlessly mean to Nolan, or if you think that her actions were reasonable for what he did. If you like me or my videos, I would really appreciate a like, comment, and subscribe if you feel like it. I hope you have a wonderful day. Thank you so much. Bye.
Yeah, and now we go our separate pathways.